How do you avoid death by PowerPoint? Hi, my name is Parul Banka. I transform professionals into terrific storytellers. Today, I'm going to give you some powerful tips that you can implement as a speaker to make sure that your audience is not dead because of a boring presentation. So, you ready? Death by PowerPoint is real, and we experience it at work more often than we would like to. And that is why it is so important to make sure that we are not that speaker who do that to our audience. But before I launch into my 3 powerful tips that I want to share with you today, I would like you to consider if you need PowerPoint slides at all. Yep, that's right. Can you stand before an audience and do a presentation or a talk without any slides? If the answer is yes, awesome. I'm going to have a great time sharing with you how to do that in an engaging way in my videos. In fact, the second and the third point that I share in this video will still be equally relevant to you. If your answer is no, because at work we need to do, let's say, data-driven presentations, here are my top 3 tips to help you. Number 1, remember that you are the presentation and not the slides. What do I mean by that? Have you ever seen those speakers who come with copious amounts of text and data on the slides, and they actually get hooked onto the slides? They literally read them word by word. In those situations, the slides are not their support. They are actually their crutch. Make sure that you are the presentation. What you say is responsible for communicating the information that you want to share and not the slides. Number 2, engage with people, because it is very easy for the audience to get fixated on the slides. In fact, if you are reading from the slides, then they do it too. So the question is, how do you engage with them? Well, you apply all the principles of effective delivery and engaging an audience. So use your body, maintain that eye contact, stand at a place where they can see you properly, have appropriate body language, modulate your voice. It's an extremely effective tool. Organize your speech, capture their attention, and do it within the first 30 seconds. Otherwise, be prepared to be swished in their minds with something else. Number 3, use stories and have a story running through the entire presentation. So every block of information that you are sharing, even if it is data-driven, is information-centric, make sure that you have a small story. And your entire presentation should also have a theme or a story or a message running through it. So each of these blocks should actually support the main story. I want to share with you an example where I had used slides very effectively. Many years ago, when I had to do a presentation at Toastmasters, this is where I applied these concepts. So I was doing something called as visual aids speech at Toastmasters. The objective of the speech was to learn how to use visual aids effectively. It was scheduled for the next day, 9 a.m. first thing in the morning. And I was really looking forward to this speech. The only challenge was I was on holiday, and by the time I would get home tonight, it would be midnight. So I didn't really have much time to prepare for it, because I didn't want to prepare for my Toastmasters speech while I was away on holiday. And it was a speech about visual aids, which means that I actually needed a laptop, which I wasn't carrying when I was away. So what do I do? And as you can imagine, I was really exhausted. When I came back and sat down to prepare for the speech, because it was just too late to pull out. I didn't want to pull out of my speech at the last minute, I was really wondering what I would speak about. I didn't have a topic in mind. So, oh my God, what do I talk about tomorrow? What do I talk about tomorrow? I don't even have a topic. I've just come home. And that's when it clicked. I decided that my topic for tomorrow's speech would be home, sweet home. But what do I do? What would I say? So what I decided was that I would just pick up some pictures which were related to home, sweet home, to my personal life. And so I put together a quick presentation, a PowerPoint presentation, which had these pictures. So I took a couple of pictures that talked about my relationships, my intimate relationship, and other important people. I talked about the fun aspect of my life and how amazing it was to live the life that I lived. And I spoke about one more aspect. And the interesting thing was that the slides just had one title each, and they just had pictures. And therefore, the next day when I actually delivered that presentation, I was my story. And those slides with their pictures were supporting what I had to say. So let's go back to correlate this Toastmasters examples with the 3 tips that I shared with you. Number 1, do you actually need the slides? The answer is yes, because that was the objective of the presentation, the objective of the speech. I needed the slides, but I made sure that I was the presentation, not them. They were supporting me and they were not my crutch. That's one of the most amazing things that you must keep in mind. The second thing is engaging with the audience. I made sure that as the speaker, I engaged with my audience. And anyhow, it was a bit surprising for them to see a presentation that had no text at all, except the tiny 1 word or 2 words headlines, the titles. And so I fabricated, I shared a story about each of those themes. Whether it was my personal life, whether it was my work life, whether it was the fun part of my life, and how they all came together to my main title, Home, Sweet Home. I made sure that I implemented the engagement tools, so I made sure of appropriate eye contact with my audience. It wasn't a huge audience. I think there were about 25 to 30 people, but I made sure that I engaged with them through eye contact. I used the space, whatever was available. I used my entire body to communicate excitement and different emotions. And I used my voice effectively. And that's one of the tips that I would talk about in detail when I do a video on voice modulation. But when you have more than one person in your talk or presentation, you must make sure that you sound different. So I'm not saying that you've got to mimic or do a voiceover, but just look and sound different through your body, through your demeanor, through the depth of the voice, or just go and stand at a different spot so the audience gets the message that you have donned the hat of a different person. So my slides were supporting me. I used all the engagement tools, and everything that I had to say, all the content, was culminating and supporting my main story, which was Home, Sweet Home. It was an amazingly successful presentation, and honestly, nobody could guess that I had put it together in less than an hour, because it was just stories and pictures, and I was the person who was talking about them. And they were so engaged. That was the first talk I had where I received a standing ovation. And it meant so much to me because it was a new audience for me. I was doing this speech not at my regular club, but at a new club. So new audience, new place. Still a safe environment because it was Toastmasters, but not a familiar environment, not a familiar audience. So I hope that gave you some inspiration to go ahead and do your presentations in an inspiring way. Again, I would want to repeat that these concepts can be equally applicable when you do a presentation on a data-intensive topic. So at work, we regularly have to do presentations which have a lot of data, a lot of charts, a lot of, let's say, reporting from Excel sheets and such tools. But you don't have to make your whole presentation boring. You can still do it in an engaging way. So next time you're required to do a presentation, think of these techniques. Make your presentations fun. Make sure that your audience does not die because of your PowerPoint presentation. Come and join my community at www.caramelcoaching.com. Do take a minute or two to comment below on this video on how you enjoyed the video, and also do share your personal experiences of when you were the person who were bored to death when someone else was the speaker, and what you intend to do differently to make sure that you do not become that boring speaker. I'll speak to you soon in one of my new videos. Take care, stay awesome. Bye.